evening. Would everybody please take their seats? Thank you. We will have call to order, invocation, and pledge allegiance. The invocation will be by Reverend Howard Arden from the First Baptist Church of Homestead, and the pledge of allegiance with the Police Explorers and Councilwoman Waldman. Would you please stand?
Let us pray. Oh God, we pause before you with grateful hearts, acknowledging you as the author of life and the source of our many blessings. We thank you especially for our many community servants who work so selflessly, many times putting their needs or the needs of others above their own and the safety of others above their own. We thank you also for our many community leaders, especially those gathered here today. We pray you to honor their efforts and give them renewed wisdom and strength, that through them this community would be a greater place. I pray these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our great nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bell?
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Here.
Councilman McCormick?
Here.
Councilman Nelson?
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Here.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Here.
Additions, deletions, deferrals?
There's none at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. This time,
if I might, just to make one brief announcement, we are requesting an attorney-client session in the case of Reliable Substation Services versus City of Homestead. Our litigation partner, Michael Popak, will coordinate that with your schedules through the city clerk's office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Special presentations, Officer of the Month, May 2008, Officer Joshua Newton, Councilman Nelson. I know, I sound like...
Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, City Council, and Mr. City Manager, I'm Reserve Captain Tom Foglia. With me, we have Chief Alvarol, Major Scott Kennedy, Councilman, good seeing you. This is our Officer of the Month for May, Josh Newton, and before I go over what he did for May, I'll give you a little background on him. He started as a reserve police officer with Homestead in 1999. At the time, we didn't have any full-time positions. He was here for a period of well over a year, almost 2 years. And in 2001, he received employment with the City of Surfside Police Department. He then moved over to Sunny Isles Police Department in November of 2003. But he kept waiting for an opening here. And we had an opening, and he joined our department in October of 2006. So we're honored to have him back. If I may, I'll go over a few things he did in May. On October 3rd, he responded to a domestic call where a female had been battered actually throughout the night. Apparently one of the children was a witness. When Josh tried to talk to the child, the subject became violent, raising his hands. He wound up arresting that individual and quelling what may have been a very bad situation if he hadn't made that arrest. On May 5th, he responded to a shoplifting call. and the subject was actually fighting with the store clerk. He observed the subject holding a beer that he was stealing at the time, and at that point the subject reached inside of his shirt. Josh pulled out his taser, which you can see right here. The individual would not take his hand from within his shirt, and he was tasered and went down on the ground for about 30 seconds, I'm sure. So he left it in. On May 13th, he responded to a burglary in progress call. He actually met with the property owner, but he didn't know if anything was stolen from his house. He had to wait for his wife to get home to determine that, is what the individual said. But anyway, Josh and some other officers checked the area, and they located two subjects riding two bicycles and pulling two bikes alongside. They didn't take it from that house, but they did burglarize another house in the area, and he arrested them for another burglary. So, worked out very good. On May 24th, he responded to a theft in progress, and three subjects had entered the store together. Two of them had fled. He was able to apprehend two of them outside. They admitted to doing it. The third subject, she didn't give up as easily. She wound up in the restroom, hiding from the officers, and Josh was able to effect that arrest after going to the ladies' room. I would like to add that he's also part of our tactical entry team, which is the equivalent of SWAT. He's done numerous search warrants. These are high-profile drug warrants. He carries the MP5 and other high-powered weapons, does an excellent job. Again, like I said, we're fortunate to have him back on board, and that's with great pleasure he receives May Officer of the Month. I'd like to present to you on behalf of the Mayor and Council, City of Homestead, presented to Officer Joshua Newton for being selected Officer of the Month, May 2008. Also with that, I'd like to thank our local businesses who donate every month. Times are tough right now for a lot of businesses, and they're still doing this for the Officer of the Month, and I'd like to really thank them for staying with us. Businesses are Awards Incorporated for donation of the plaque. The City Attorney donated $100. First National Bank of South Florida, $50 savings bond. Community Bank of Florida, $50 savings bond. Ferguson Jewelers, $75 gift certificate. Logos, $50 gift certificate. Blake Chevrolet, a $300 value. Oil, lube, and filter detailing. Captain Car Wash, $20 gift certificate. Nita Jensen, 2 membership Homestead Community Concerts, and dinner for 2 at Maya's Creole Cafe, right next to Stick and Stein, right behind the police station.
Thank you, Captain Foglio. Thank you, Councilman Nelson. I'm not much of a public speaker, so I'm going to have to refer to my notes here, but I'll do my best. Ever since I can remember, I had a dream of becoming a Homestead police officer, of helping the helpless, protecting the weak, and catching the bad guys. Now that I'm grown, my dream has come true. It may not be quite the romantic vision I held in my childhood, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I would like to dedicate this award to the officers on the street that I depend on every day. The officers who without hesitation will put their own lives in great peril to protect mine, or yours, or that of a stranger on the street. We are a team, and it is only because of my teammates that I am up here tonight receiving this award. It's also because of them that I make it home safely every night to my family. To Chief Roll, the command staff, and supervisors, thank you for your leadership and your support. Thank you for standing behind the troops. We appreciate it. Thank you for providing us with the necessary tools to perform our duties and for constantly striving to make Homestead Police Department the best. To Mayor Bell, the council, and the city manager, thank you for supporting the chief, the command staff, and the officers. Together, you guys make this a great place to work. Thank you very much.
Major Kennedy, I just have one question for you and Councilman Nelson. Are these officers getting younger or are we getting older? Thank you. Thank you and congratulations. Project SOS, Florida Commission on Status of Women, and Sandra Merritt, Florida Achievement Award, Councilman Nelson.
Good evening. My name is Kim Elias. I work with Project SOS at the Homestead Police Department. Unfortunately, the representative from the Florida Commission on the Status of Women, she's running a little late with our plaque, but to know we're still going to move on and move forward. This is Sandra Merritt. Sandra Merritt is one of our community volunteers. Without Sandra Merritt, she works probably about 40 hours a week volunteering, getting food, formula, clothes, just for the residents in our community that really need the stuff. So we thought that, we would nominate her for the Achievement Award for the Florida Status of Commission of Women, and she won. Yeah. So hopefully they're on their way down. I always say I want to be like her when I grow up because she does a tremendous, tremendous job for the residents of the community, and she never asks for anything in return. She's very quiet and very modest. But this is Bob Johnson, and he's going to be saying a little bit about Sandra. We all work closely together gathering donated items on a weekly basis, and Mr. Johnson comes up from the Keys with a van load once a week for the residents. So we open up our clothes closet and our food closet, and these two are pretty much the ones that are responsible. So.
Thank you. Mayor Bell, Commissioners, it's good to be here. It's an honor. What's really an honor today is to be here on behalf of Sandra Merritt, who's done so much for so many in the community. And Sandra Merritt is part of a team that's just incredible. Aside from your government, there's a whole layer underlying that of people that do just a lot of work for a lot of people every single day. Dr. Noda Soto is here, I believe. Kim Elias from SOS. SOS does an outstanding job for Homestead. And once a week, what we've done is got a bunch of contributors down in the Keys. And yesterday I was listening to CNN, and in a rare interview, Nelson Mandela was on, and they asked him, what's the one wish that you had? And Nelson Mandela said, you would expect Nelson Mandela to say global warming or peace for the world. And he said, the one thing that I would wish for is that the people who are wealthy would share with the people who are not wealthy. And I thought, gee, they've been reading about Sandra on our website, so I was pretty happy with that. Sandra has a lot of heart. She just keeps going like a racehorse. And nobody has to tell her what to do. She tells us what to do. She's an incredible lady. And once again, I'm honored to be here. And I suppose we should have maybe a pretend plaque since it's not here yet. But Sandra, congratulations, and nobody in this whole world would be more deserving of community recognition than Sandra Merritt. And we thank you very much.
My name's Sandra Merritt. I would like to thank everyone that come out tonight. And I just hope and pray I can keep going like I'm going now. And special thanks to Dr. Soto, Kim, Bob, and all of them from the Keys. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, Sandra. We will now have our 2008 Spring Citizens Academy Certificate presentation, and I've asked the Vice Mayor to do those presentations for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. As an alumni of the Citizens Academy, I know what a great tool it is for the whole city of Homestead and its citizens to learn about the inner works of the city and what it can do for everybody, so that when you come here, you know a little more and you understand a little more. It's a great job. They teamed with the FIU again to offer the free government education courses to its residents. The Academy is designed to offer the residents the opportunity to learn more about the city, as I said, give them a chance to meet the people that are responsible and run the city, gain insight into how the city works, and understand the role of each and every department. These classes were taught by the professors from FIU and our very competent city staff. The class was this is the 7th Academy since its inception in 2005, and there were 20 people that took the class this time. The classes are held for 2 hours once a week on Wednesdays, and it runs for 7 weeks. And I would say to anybody that when they have one of these, that they're at all interested in learning about the city and staying informed of what's going on in the city, that these classes and this whole process is very helpful to everybody. So with that said, I'd like to bring up the graduates and give them their diplomas. Maria Barrenguer. And if I don't say your name right, please forgive me. I'm going to do my best. Deborah Brown Caper. Frederick Berg. Janie Centeno. Scott Chuse. Lionel, and I'm not even going to attempt this one. Hoost? Okay. Gabriel Gonzalez. Yvonne Knowles. Rosalie Lopez. Susan Newman. Elizabeth Robert. Peter Shepard. Amelia Smith. David Suarez. Roger Trujillo. Ruth Wilson. And Kurt Von Gotten.
Congratulations.
Too many vowels.
I know. Thank you, everybody. What a great group. That must have been a fun class. Item D on the agenda, candidate introductions to the community. First, we have George Grace, a candidate for House Seat 118. Come on up, Mr. Grace.
Good evening. First, let me greet this always been very warm in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I do that everywhere I go around the world as a speaker around the world, and I want to thank the mayor and the commissioners and you for allowing me to come here to introduce myself to you. My name is George Grace. I'm running for House Seat 118. I was born and raised in a little town in Central Florida, Bartow, Florida, and where I finished high school, and also while in high school, graduated from a vocational and technical institute, proud of being offered a full scholarship to play football at Tuskegee University, where I started 4 years in the Hall of Fame at Tuskegee, and also, most important, I was an honor student, graduated highest academic honors. I later left Tuskegee and I went to graduate school at University of Miami. I also went to graduate school at St. Thomas University, Barry University, Lyle Technical Institute in Chicago, and a number of other schools. I worked for Bell South for 35 years. I retired last May. While at Bell South, I won the Department Head Award for 14 times in 6 years for revenue-generating initiatives and cost-saving initiatives. Also, while working at Bell South, I worked in the community in several different organizations. One, I became the international president of an organization called the Make It South Fraternity, which includes notables as Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Lonzo Mourning, and many others. But most importantly, that community-based organization provided scholarship while I was president in over excess of $2 million to high school students around the country and several here in Dade County. We also had other programs with American Cancer Society, also American Red Cross, and a number of other philanthropic organizations. We also have several chairs during my tenure at about 15 different universities around the country. We also built a dormitory at the University of South Carolina. When I took over handling that organization, it was $1.2 million in debt, and I left them $12 million in the black. That's my leadership skills. I come here tonight looking for your support in order that I might go to Tallahassee to represent you and show that same kind of leadership in Tallahassee. One thing I can promise you, that if I'm elected, no man living, no man dead, and no man yet to be born will do the job any better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Grace. Thank you, Mr. Grace. Next, we have Larry Feldman, candidate for Miami-Dade Public Schools. Councilwoman Sierra.
Thank you, Mayor Bell, Council, City Manager, guests. It is wonderful to be back here in Homestead. My name is Larry Feldman. I've been a 35-year veteran of education, from elementary teacher, special ed, regular ed teacher, principal, assistant principal, and then director of a large region. As a matter of fact, from 1989 to 1998, I was here representing Dade County Public Schools with you all, and we had a region office that was between Campbell Drive Elementary and Campbell Drive Middle, and we spent many hours working with all your schools, working with your various communities, trying to instill a lot of pride and determination back into an area that unfortunately was devastated by Hurricane Andrew. Worked side by side with Maria Garza as we handed out supplies and equipment and clothing after Hurricane Andrew. My job entailed everything from operations to budget to attendance boundaries to training of parents so they could speak in front of the board and get what they needed, such as at A.L. Lewis at that time. When the school was destroyed, they went in front of the board and were able to obtain a brand new school. I also was involved in the hiring and firing of various administrators that were not accountable for their work. During my years, I went to school, got a PhD in educational leadership, and had the opportunity after I retired, I guess a couple weeks ago, to run for school board. And what I noticed is that there is a void. There's a void in the accountability level of where our money goes. There's a void in the leadership of why no one down here is getting what they deserve, on why is Homestead Senior still where it is as it was 4 years ago. Why is it that we just lost the region office? There is no reason for you as a community to have to drive to Kendall Drive to speak to a superintendent or a director. There are a lot of things that the school system is doing as far as mismanagement of funds. We didn't just wake up one day and owe $285 million. And clearly, one of the major issues that we're faced this year, that you're faced with, is the respect and the admiration of teachers who are in your children's classrooms and honoring their contracts. There is no reason why we take money from what teachers' contracts and other contracts would say to pay somebody else's bill. So I'm running for school board in District 9, and on August 26th, it's winner take all. It's a one-time vote, and as I've been trained, if you're used to having what's done to you over the last 4 years continue, you will vote for someone else. If you want change, if you want someone who's looking after your money, if you want someone who cares about your community, if you want someone who cares about your kids, if you want someone who cares about your teachers, and if you want to see a difference and find out where our money's going, then I offer you my services for 4 years and my honor and my integrity to be here in this community when time is needed. So I thank you, Mayor Bell, and the rest of the council. I hope that everybody comes out and votes one way or another. That's the American way. And I hope on the 27th I'm able to come down here and say, great job, Homestead. We did it. We now have representation on the Dade County School Board. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Feldman. Thank you. We're now moving on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll move it.
The consent agenda has been properly moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes carry. Thank you. Public hearings?
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization, and further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on this evening's agenda.
James, I have to disclose, I had one very brief conversation on item A and B, second reading. An event I was at, someone came up and was basically complimenting actually the developer on working with the community. So I want to put that on the record.
James, I also, I wasn't present for the last meeting as I left early to go do a presentation, but I had meetings with the applicants for BDG Grove Plaza prior to the last meeting even. It's probably been a month and a half since I met with them, but I just want that to be known.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, at this time the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify in any of the following quasi-judicial items.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Yes, tab 3, item A, is a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of BDG Grove Plaza, LLC for a rezoning from Agricultural District AU to Retail Commercial District B2 for property located on the southwest corner of Southwest 137th Avenue and Northeast 15th Street, consisting of approximately 5.04 acres, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. We will now open the public hearing. I know this is a second reading. Anything from staff on this item?
No, Madam Mayor, nothing from the first reading.
Thank you. Any questions from the council members for the applicant?
At this time.
Any questions from the public? This is a public hearing. Comments or questions from the public? We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to tab 4. Tab 4 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for preliminary plat and site plan approval for BDG Grove Plaza, LLC, consisting of 82,712 square feet of development on approximately 5.04 acres of land located on the southwest corner of Southwest 137th Avenue and Northeast 15th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
I'll move it.
I'll second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. We will now open the public hearing. Again, this is a second reading. Any staff report on this item, Ms. Kamali?
Sure. This is a 5-acre property, and the zoning is B2 on the future land use of light commercial. The applicant is proposing 82,712 square feet of commercial development on this property. There is a declaration of restrictive of covenant that has been properly addressed all the issues that the neighbors have had, and is addressing this package for your review. And the staff reviewed that there is some concurrency regarding the traffic, which there is a proportionate fair share that is going to come before you later tonight.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kamali. Does council have any questions for the applicant on this item?
I do have a statement. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Statement? Go ahead, Councilwoman Sierra.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. I just wanted to say, as part of a resident of Waterstone, that I would like to commend Mr. Bosch for really going above and beyond our expectations and really working with the community. It was just spectacular. I had never worked with anybody that was so willing to work with a community that way, and I want to thank him for that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Vice Mayor?
I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't present. I had to leave early at the last meeting. I know you guys had a lot of renderings and all. Do you have them available with you again tonight? Maybe we could show everybody that's here, and myself, if we could take a minute and if they're out, Mr. Bosch, don't worry about it. If they're outside, I'll see them. Oh, okay.
as they're waiting, in fact, that was the exact comment that was brought to me, that, this shows when you have an item that can be quite contentious. Very often it's contentious because there are simply unanswered questions that the community has, and once those questions are answered and properly addressed and fears are allayed, then you can have a good resolution, as we did. So, Mr. Burgess, would you like to show them to the audience?
Yeah, just very nice, and I not only do I appreciate you working with the neighborhoods, but listening to council and what little advice we were able to put into this and following. Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you very much. Any further questions from council for the applicant? Thank you. Any public comments on this item? This is a public hearing. The public hearing is now closed. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman? Yes. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
That completes your quasi-judicial section of your agenda. Moving on to legislative matters.
Item 7A, resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, calling a special election on the proposed amendments to the city charter to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2008, providing for submission to the electors for approval or disapproval of a series of proposed charter amendments which resulted from the City Council's review of the recommendations of the city's Charter Review Committee, providing for requisite ballot language, providing for procedure for balloting, providing for notice, providing for related matters, and providing for effective date.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments from council on this item?
Mayor Bell, I have one comment. At the last meeting, there was a question about when would the council have its first opportunity to present this charter review recommendations, and I noted on the calendar that next week we will be having the town hall meeting in the northwest section, and that will probably be our first opportunity to present this publicly. So if you're in that area, if you would like to just come by, I'm sure that we will start to address these matters at that time.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman.
The only phone calls that I had on this was whether or not we should put into the body of the language the mention of the waiver of the term limits. So I don't know if that's, David, and I'm glad you're here tonight because I know you were the one that set in on all this, correct?
Right, I'm very familiar with the item. The question pertains to something about the term limit provision.
Right.
The term limit provision is strictly a clarification of section at the top of page 6, part of section 203. I don't know what the specific question was about that. From a legal standpoint, everything certainly is legally in proper legal form and sufficiency. So I don't know if there's a particular question that a citizen had or what their concern is, but all the text amendments are properly set forth by underline and strike through, and then the necessary ballot questions are also set forth, and the voters will see the actual ballot questions that are shown in this resolution, but anyone certainly is welcome to come and look at the actual resolution and see the text changes as well. But because of limitations, there's a limit to what we can put in the actual ballot question while sticking to word limits and also making sure that each item is clear when the people vote on it.
And they can find this text online?
That's correct. This is on the City of Homestead website, which, as you know, is a very good one as maintained by the city clerk.
Okay, I'll just refer them to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any further comments or questions from council? This is a public hearing. Any comments or questions from the public? Now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mayor, next item 7A2, resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a transportation at proportionate fair share agreement between the City of Homestead and BDG Grove Plaza, LLC, providing for implementation and providing for effective date.
I move it.
I'll second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any initial comments from council? Any comments or questions from the public? This is a public hearing. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I've just been informed that our recipient, Ms. Sandra Merritt, that her presentation has arrived, her award, her plaque has arrived. So I think it would be nice at this time, rather than waiting all the way to the end, to go ahead and allow her to have her plaque presented to her. I know the public doesn't mind this a bit.
Madam Mayor, all the members of the Council of Homestead, I'm very honored to be here with you from the Florida Commission on the Statute of Women in Tallahassee. In the name of our Governor, Charlie Crist, I'm very honored to present the letter from the Governor to one of our resident and proud recipient, Sandra Merritt. Dear Sandra, congratulations on your selection as a recipient of the Florida Achievement Award presented by the Florida Commission on the Statute of Women. I, the Governor speaking, commend your exemplary service, dedication, and commitment to your local community. Your efforts are deserving of your distinct recognition. Sincerely, then, in the name of the Governor Charlie Crist, please receive the letter and also the well-deserving recognition that we present to you today.
Thank you.
You need to be proud of us.
Thank you so much, and congratulations once again. Next item.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7A3, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, adopting the proposed millage rate for ad valorem taxation for real and personal property within said city.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, council members, some of you, Mayor and Councilwoman Wadman, are familiar with this process. We always have the proposed millage rate to be placed on the trim notice. And normally we create a ceiling by, David can help me here, by state statute you could create a ceiling and you could always work under the ceiling. You cannot go above it. So normally governments put a higher millage rate just in case between the time you approve it to the time the budget is adopted, God forbid you have a catastrophe, you could always have a cushion for the millage to be higher. I can assure you and assure residents that the budget we are working with is not prepared with this with the proposed millage. It's much lower than this, actually, with the rollback rate. So therefore I kindly request from you to allow us to create this ceiling. And when we come back for adoption, and if nothing goes wrong, and I'm talking about catastrophe, if no catastrophe like a hurricane or something happens between now and then, the millage rate will be the millage rate we will bring to you for adoption of the budget will be a much lower millage rate, and that's the rollback rate.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manager. Any comments or questions from council for the manager?
I have a comment, Mayor Bell.
Councilwoman Lobos.
Mr. Shahada, why don't you give the dates now of when the workshops and the budget hearings will be coming up, please?
Actually, we will have on August 26 tentative date for public
public council workshop, and then we are required to have 2 readings of the budget, and the first one will be on September 9th, and the second one will be September 23rd. So there are 3 opportunities for the public to come in front of this body to to participate in the budget approval process.
Thank you, and then we'll have an idea of the final millage rate at that particular time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mayor Bell?
Yes, Councilwoman Waldman.
I've been through this process several times, and I just want to make it very clear, and Mr. Shahada, maybe you can reinforce this as well, this is not raising your taxes. It is not raising your taxes. And unfortunately, a few years back, we'd had a miscommunication, and everybody thought that a vote of this was raising your taxes, and it is not. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that, and that it's very clear, because the phone calls that I've had today have just been unbelievable. You're not going to raise my taxes. Please don't raise my taxes. I can't afford this. I can't afford that. And I agree with you. We're all in the same boat. But I just want to make it very clear that this is something all municipal governments do. It's nothing new, and it's just how it has to be. So if you could just...
Councilwoman Waldman, Mayor, council members, you are absolutely correct. Actually, in the past week, there was times, and David recalls this, when we had 9 and 10 millage rate, just to put the ceiling to be
I remember
on the safe
9 and 10.
side. Yeah, and like I said, this is only to go out. And also, by state statute, we're not really required to do this. I could just personally send it to the tax assessor's office to include it in the trim notice. Not required to be advertised like this, but because I know you all like to be transparent in everything we do, that's why we're bringing it in front of you. And you are absolutely 100% correct. That's not the intent, to raise taxes, just creating a ceiling. And like I said, God forbid, unless it's a catastrophe of large magnitude, this is not going to be the rate.
Well, and again, my phone, I got phone calls while I was away as soon as the agenda came out on the website over the weekend, and I've had phone calls all day today. People are just concerned, and I can understand why they're concerned. So I just want to say that please know that this is not raising your taxes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to restate something that Mr. Shahada said, and I want to make it clear. I really wanted to make sure that we had a public hearing on this item, no matter what. Even if we could just send the trim notice up and we could just send it up, I want to make sure that we explain everything to the public this time plus the 3 additional times, so that the public has a complete and a clear understanding of everything that we're doing. And so as far as we're concerned, I think an informed electorate is very healthy, and that we need to continue to keep informing. So yes, while this didn't have to be a public hearing, we wanted to make sure that it was a public hearing. Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. Any further comments?
No, I just want to reiterate, as the manager said, that this cap is in case we have a catastrophe come through. I think that's the most important thing that we need to stress right now to the citizens. That 1, it's not a tax raise, and 2, it's only there as needed if we have a, God forbid, a hurricane comes through and hurts the city or devastates us somehow. So, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any comments or questions from the audience? Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Ordinances?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7B is an ordinance on first reading, an ordinance relating to the provision of services, facilities, and programs in the city of Homestead, Florida, authorizing the imposition and collection of assessments against property within the incorporated area of the city of Homestead, providing certain definitions, including the definition of the term assessment, providing for the creation of assessment areas, establishing the procedures for imposing assessments, establishing procedures for notice and adoption of assessment rolls, providing that assessments constitute a lien on assessed property upon adoption of the assessment roll, providing that the lien for an assessment collected pursuant to Sections 197-3632 and 197-3635 Florida statutes upon perfection shall attach to the property on the prior January 1, the lien date for ad valorem taxes, providing that a perfected lien shall be equal in rank and dignity with the liens of all state, county, district, or municipal taxes and assessments, and superior in dignity to all other prior liens, mortgages, titles, and claims, authorizing exemptions and hardship assistance, providing procedures for collection of assessments, providing a mechanism for the imposition of assessments on government property, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move it.
I'll second. The item's been properly moved and seconded. Any comments or questions from council on this item?
One question, Mayor.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Thank you, Mayor. I know we've done this before with the county, with the 2% service charge. I just want to make sure, as we made sure before, that it is in writing that their fees to do this service will not go beyond that 2%. And what are the chances of it being under 2%?
Councilwoman Waldman, council members, Mayor. Actually, based on verbal discussions between Mark Cooper-Smith and the county, it's going to be around 1%, but they're putting a ceiling of 2%, not to exceed 2%. And just for your information, this ordinance really allows us to do all the solid waste services to be placed on the tax roll. It's the intent to do it in steps, and the first step we are going to have is for the single-family homes. Cooper-Smith is working with the county and, of course, working with David, and we have an attorney who's specialized in this area from an outside firm, and David brought her to work with us. Is she here? Not tonight? Okay. Also, I want to mention that I got some comments from council members about some of the way it's drafted. There will be minor revisions when we come back to you with the second reading. But you are absolutely correct. It's not going to go above. It's going to be, verbally they said it will be less, but will never exceed the 2%.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comments or questions from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have public comments. Any member of the public would like to speak? We have one.
Mayor Bell and Vice Mayor Burgess and distinguished council, I'd like to ask all of the Homestead Merchants Association members to come on up as a group. This is our official poster. We formed the Homestead Merchants Association, and our purpose is to stimulate the business for the downtown and Homestead and to raise money for charities. Our first fest, and we're very excited about it, is August 23rd, which is the anniversary of, or the eve of Andrew. This event will start in Lossner Park, and it'll start at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it'll be a family-orientated type of festival. We'll have a lot of water type of activities for the children and lots of vending, food. We'll have music, DJ Tommy, and also Johnny Holiday just jumped on board, who is a one-man show. We're very excited about that. We're a group and we're growing. It's exciting. We're growing each week. And it's a group made up of merchants from Homestead and citizens, and it's all volunteer work. And again, our goal is to create business, stimulate business for downtown, and see pedestrians walking and shopping. And I know the vision that you guys have and the plans that the council has in developing the downtown area. I, of course, have an investment in it myself, and it's the last historic place in Florida really to be developed, and we're really genuinely emotional about it. We see the vision along with you, Mayor Bell. Anyway, we need everybody to jump on board. This association is working alongside the chamber. We're active. We want to take anybody advice. We'd love for everybody to jump on board. I mean, this is a whole community thing. We'd like for everybody to be involved with us. And this is just part of our association, and if anybody else here would like to step up and say something, come on.
We'd love to have your names.
Hi, my name's Liz Graff. I don't actually live in the city of Homestead, but I live in the unincorporated out in the Redlands. But Homestead is my city, it's the closest city. I love Homestead. I've lived here all my life, and I'm very excited about this. I don't have a business in Homestead. My husband farms out in the Redlands, but I think it would be wonderful for our city to offer the families and the people that live in this community the opportunity to stay here and have fun here instead of having to get in our car and drive up to Kendall and, spend gas. And why not just keep the money right here in Homestead? We have great restaurants here. We have antique stores. There's all kinds of stuff in Homestead. And sometimes I think that the people that live here don't even realize all the cool stuff that's here. So I think it's a great chance for the community to benefit, not just the merchants and the people in the downtown area, but all of the community and the outlying little, the Redlands and everybody. Homestead is our city too, even though, I'm not actually a resident of Homestead. So.
Thank you very much.
And again, our primary goal is to stimulate business and to raise monies for charities. This first one, of course, is for the Red Cross, which fits right in with the hurricane season. And also, along with us, is City Church. Steve DeGrave of Stickensteins is putting forth the bands at nighttime. Hector Hernandez from Toro Taco is coming on board with some more of the family type stuff in Losner Park, and all of us who are merchants and citizens. We just want to grow. Our plan is to we have 2 more events after this that we plan for this year, but to come up with an event once a month to keep the fire going and keep people coming down and aware of who we are and finding us. And we have a lot of plans to expand, and we just need to keep doing it. And thank you for your support.
Thank you very much, Colin. We're excited. Would you let me know your next meeting? So I'd like to attend your next meeting and speak to you, if you don't mind. Give you
Our next meeting is Thursday at 5:30 at Stickensteins.
Okay.
And Maya's. And also, I called earlier. I'd like to formally invite you, Mayor, and the council for our ceremonies that day, that Saturday, August 23rd at 6:00 p.m. to sort of toast and our first fest and make it. Well, anyway, I'd like to formally invite you.
Thank you. I think the manager has something he'd like to say as well. Mr. Mike?
Since he did not invite me, I want to invite him to a meeting with staff. So, Colin, is there any way I have that coordinate a meeting with you and a group of, whether it's all of you or some of you, to have a meeting with us in the city manager's office? We'd like to learn about your vision, goals, and objectives, and see how we can help.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, one other thing, the next event would be Speed Fest in November, and oh yeah, Yes, and Diana Nelson has just reminded me about the bed race and all kinds of activities. Diana, you want to say something? No? There you go. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Paula. Business from the city manager?
I really have no business at this time.
Thank you very much. Reports of mayor and council. We'll start with Councilwoman Waldman.
Thank you, Mayor. Mine will be brief tonight. I attended the FMEA conference over on the West Coast, and we learned a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff happening and a lot of information. So I'm sure we'll be sharing that all with you later. I do want to say that Ms. Homestead is having a fundraiser for their scholarship foundation. And it's going to be on August 1st. It's going to be at the Old Dixie Shopping Center, the corner of 15th and Old Dixie in the Scotty's parking lot. And they're selling dinners. So it's chicken dinners for $10, chicken and rib for $17, and slab of ribs for $24. So please come out and support Ms. Homestead. It's a wonderful organization for young women, and their scholarship fund is amazing. I wanted to also say thank you to Mayor Bell for lending me her glasses. I forgot my glasses tonight, so she said these are her number 2 pair. So thank you very much. Leave them here.
My pleasure. I just stuck them in my purse at the last second.
So anyway, thank you. It's been a busy summer. I hope all the children are safe and happy, and I hope you're getting swimming lessons for all your kids. And it's going by way too fast, so enjoy, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Councilwoman Waldman. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the FMEA for the first time last week, and it was a very interesting gathering of people from around the state, and well, actually from the world, I guess. There were people from all over the place, and they had all different ideas of how the city can go green and help its citizens. They had programs that set up to help the citizens with their electric consumption and what they can do, and that I think we're going to be looking at in the future. And another one was the Lifeline. One that caught my attention was the Lifeline, where they come in and help the citizens who are needy and need help with their phone lines and their electric lines. And it's a statewide program that is very underused in the state of Florida, so I'm hoping that maybe we can get, I've got the gentleman's contact, and actually they called today, and I'm going to call them back and see if we can get some stuff going with them and get those programs brought to more of the attention of the people that need them down in our area. I also had a very interesting breakfast at the hospital where they told us about all the things that they have going on, that they're doing, that they have planned and all that. That was very informative. And one last thing, my wife is an animal lover, so she asked me, there's going to be a dog wash this weekend, hosted by the Homestead Animal Hospital. And all the proceeds will go to help the animal shelters around. You can give towels and linens if you have anything like that dropped off. They're going to have a bake sale there. They're going to have food, and the dogs. It's this Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m. at the Homestead Animal Hospital. So anybody that's an animal lover and would like to help out a great cause, they can do that this weekend. And I've got some flyers here if anybody wants.
Great idea for those of us that don't enjoy the dog wash. Great idea. Thank you,
yes,
Vice Mayor.
and like I said, it's all going to a good cause, and it's
What's the name of the charity?
Hosted by all donations benefit the animals, and This Is the Dog, it's called.
This is the dog. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. Myself, like Vice Mayor Burgess, I also attended the FMEA conference in Sanibel this past week, and he's already covered some of the things that we did, but I do want to publicly thank Mr. Ken Conco and our city manager, Mr. Mike Shahada. Let me tell you, I walked into that board of directors meeting well prepared, well informed, because Ken took his time to share with me information and whatnot, so I was able to hop on and go on rather quickly. So, and Mr. Shahada, I think we take it for granted, but it's moments like this past week where I really appreciate the kind of city manager you are, and you're very active, and truly, I mean, you're not elected, but you have the city's best interest at heart, and I think every time I see it, I'm more and more impressed, and I just thank you for your dedication to the city. Another thing I wanted to talk about, you've seen all the candidates come through, and today we're about 5 weeks away from Election Day, which is August 26th. So it's not a committee, it's not anything other than telling you that if you're not registered to vote, to get out there, register to vote, and then don't forget to vote on August 26th, and I'll probably be announcing that for the next 5 weeks. And last thing I wanted to say, I did attend Arts South unveiling of Mayor Bell's portrait, and we were in for a treat. We thought we were just going to be watching an artist present a portrait to Mayor Bell, and as it turned out, we were there for En Familia summer camp, and we were able to see a performance by them. And let me tell you, it is absolutely spectacular, the amount of talent that is coming out of those summer camp programs. So I wanted to say tonight that they are going to be having an end-of-the-year summer camp presentation on August 1st at 7:30 at night, and I'll announce it again at the next meeting. And I just want the community to come out. En Familia, with its limited resources, the talent of the people that are leading that summer camp, I think you'll be amazed, you'll be impressed, and most of all, I think you're in for a really good treat. So that's all I have for this week. Thank you, Mayor Bell.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Robust. Councilman McCormick?
Yes, I have one thing. I wrapped up the interviews for the Southwest Advisory Committee, and of those who interviewed, I'm very ecstatic and very happy. They seem very well motivated. They have the residents' interests at heart, and I knew that the residents will be very happy of who has been selected. So Mayor Bell, I'll be getting you the information tomorrow so you can make your nominations and the final word. But the people that it's really astounding to see those people come out and show interest in the Southwest. So I'm very happy that they're coming on board to try to help us out. That's all I have for this week.
Thank you very much, Councilman McCormick. Councilman Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. I'd like to remind everybody, July 31st, a Thursday at 7 to 9, the Town Hall meeting at the Senior Center on Chrome Avenue. Last 2 weeks since we met, I've attended the Military Affairs Luncheon at the military. It was a nice event, a lot of people, a lot of great things happening. Last week I attended the unveiling of the Ford Armstrong's Ford Flex, a new car that they've unveiled and invited all of the council members over. I don't know how many others made it, but they were very happy to see some of us over there. Last week I rode with code enforcement, and have been having a lot of calls about lawns and stuff, with a lot of houses going into foreclosure. So I wanted to see what they were doing about it, and they're working very hard at getting the problem corrected. And it's a process. It's nothing, with the rain going right now and the grass growing an inch an hour just about, it's very hard. I also attended, after that, the Code Enforcement Special Master meeting on Thursday night, and it was very well. I enjoyed that. And that's about it.
Thank you very much, Councilman Nelson. Thank you. Ms. Sierra.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. Day after our last council meeting on July 8th, the school grades came out, to our surprise. Of the 17 schools that the Education Committee really keeps an eye on, some of these are not within our municipality, but they are schools that children from the city of Homestead attend. Therefore, we have determined that these schools, Homestead and Florida City, are the 17 schools that we are watching carefully and working with very carefully. Of the 17 schools, and before I even say anything else, I want you to know that this is just the beginning. This is not the end of anything. This is where we're going to start off from, and it's a great place to be right now. Of the 17 schools, one school didn't change at all, which was great. It was from an A to an A. We can't ask any more from them. Of the other schools, 8 of the schools improved by 1 grade. Phenomenal. 4 of the schools improved by 2 grades. Phenomenal plus. We only had 3 schools that did not move up, one of them, of course, being Homestead High School. Although they did have great gains, it was just not enough to move them that grade up. And there was only 1 school that actually came down a grade. I want everyone to know that the Education Committee will be working extremely hard for the next school year to help all schools that come out and reach out to us, as well as the families, not just public schools, private schools, and charter schools. Our idea, or our philosophy, is to be able to offer quality educational choices for all the children in our area. And, it was a pretty crazy day on the 8th of July. I was with Rebecca on the phone and getting calls from schools, and I was out and about, and I couldn't get the grades until later on that afternoon, but it was really remarkable to see the overall picture. We are doing great things in our schools in Homestead. We're going to continue throughout the next year identifying these schools and the great things that are going on and making sure that people know. And again, this is just the beginning. Now's when we start working hard. One of the things that I did want to share, there is and I know Councilwoman Lobos didn't know this, there is a voter committee that I started early on, and it's the VRT, voter registration team is what we called ourselves, and it's with Ms. Sheila Paul-Shed. And one of the things that we're doing is that we are broadcasting an instructional video on the new election and voting procedures. And this is a way to make sure that the citizens of Homestead know exactly how to vote and what the new procedures are. It is extremely important for all our residents to get out and vote. It makes the mayor's job and the council's job a lot more difficult when we don't have the backing of the city and of our residents. So please get out and vote on August 26th, and then we have to vote again in November. Another thing is that during these 2 weeks, Councilman McCormick and myself went to Homestead Job Corps Center, where they did a VIP tour of everything that they're doing there with their students. We actually even had an opportunity to see one of the graduate students, a student that was graduating that day, do their presentation. And it's great. It's great to have these opportunities for our kids and just give them an option for their life and their choice of what they want to do. Thank you, Mayor Bell.
Thank you very much. First item under my business is Historic Board reappointment, and I present the name of Yvonne Knowles to be reappointed, I think, for the third time now. So I put the name before you, Miss Yvonne Knowles. Do I have a second on that? A second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes carry. Thank you, and welcome back to work, Miss Knowles. Thank you. It's interesting. Basically, a lot of the things that I was going to discuss have been touched on here this evening. And I also had on my agenda that what's been happening with some of the foreclosures, as they go into foreclosure, they're kind of in limbo on who's taking care of the properties. So it's not quite the bank's property yet. It's not really the homeowner's property. They're not there. And so we have a lot of properties that are not being taken care of. So I would like to put our heads together and maybe get with the attorneys and see if there isn't something that we can do, that while these properties are in this limbo, that we can have some kind of an ordinance that mandates that somebody has to take care of that property, whether it's the bank that ultimately owns that property, whether it's the homeowner. We've got to do something, because what's happening is you're right next to, you have a beautiful home, and you're right next to a home that's looking more and more blighted. And so I don't know if that there is something. I'm just saying let's examine it and see if there is something that we can do to tackle that besides code enforcing. I know that we're doing that now.
Okay, I was going to say we still do the code enforcement regardless of who owns it.
But eventually then we have to go, and then we have to cut it, and then we have to lien the property in order to get reimbursed for the cuts, because I know that process. I've checked into it. But is there something that we can do that if this property belongs to this particular bank? And I know it's a difficult situation, and it's probably a bit of a temporary situation, but it's something I think we need to look into.
Yes, Mayor, we'll take a look at that and see if there's some type of additional ordinance that might be drafted for that purpose. I know it's a widespread problem right now.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you, Councilman Nelson, for bringing it up. It was on my item as well. Thank you. I wanted to also compliment and thank the manager. A lot of times when you bring something to someone's attention and months go by and you realize that item hasn't been taken care of, or you bring it to their attention again. Well, when I bring things to the attention of the manager, they get taken care of so quickly that I'm taken aback sometimes, and I'm like, wow, this was taken care of. One of the items is, if you notice when you go out the side road and you're going to go to the light to make a left-hand turn, that there was a road that just led to Community Bank when that road was vacated. So you had two lanes. You had a lane to turn left and a lane to turn right. Then you had this lane right here with nothing, just I call it the lane to nowhere, the lane to right into the community bank. So I asked the manager, since there's 2 lanes that this feeds into, why don't we put in another left-hand turn arrow right next to the existing left-hand turn arrow, and then have 2 lanes turning left at the very same time. That way these people won't get stuck at this light as they go through the light heading west on Campbell Drive. And so he said, that's a great idea. And before I knew it, there was a big left-hand turn arrow there on the ground already done. So I want to thank you very much for getting that done quickly. And I think that helps empty that flow of traffic more quickly. I know I'm not a traffic planner, but that was just common sense. There's a lane there that went to nowhere that was the perfect left-hand turn lane. So I just wanted to let you all know that. Also, we have a little issue in Homestead, and I know we've been bringing them to as we see them, but we have a lot of lights that aren't quite synchronized with the other lights. In other words, if you have and everybody's nodding their heads, as you turn left, and just as you get the green and you turn left and you go here, then this one turns red, and so you have cars that are stuck in the intersection. So we have a few of them. I'd like to get with you and maybe even take a drive through town so we can look at them and then notify the county to synchronize these lights. And I know a lot of it is just simply growing pains, especially when we had the busway, we had those issues, and over by the turnpike we have some issues there as well. So I'd like to get with you and drive around and show you what I'm referring to. Thank you. The FMEA, FMPA conference has been mentioned. I also was in attendance. And when you go to a local conference like this, there's so much that you can learn, because you might be sitting in a workshop on dealing with customers, and then you might be sitting in a conference dealing with new technology or latest technology. And what's interesting is that sometimes you get a different vantage point than what you're hearing in the general media. And then you sit down in a conference and you hear that there's a lot of scientists, and the science is still out on climate change. There's still a lot of ifs about that, and everyone just automatically says, oh yes, this is an issue. But the science is still out on there. There's a lot of differing opinions on this, so it's very, very interesting to go and sit. And also, I know that the state of Florida has a moratorium on coal and the excavation of coal and coal burning, but we learned there is and this part I knew, but there's a way to burn coal cleanly. There's clean burning coal, and there's also coal to liquid, and there are many resources that we have that we're not utilizing. So it was interesting to sit in this conference and see these things that are out there for us that we're not utilizing as far as the area of power and to resourcing these. We have these natural resources that we're not yet utilizing. So it was very interesting to sit there and hear the different perspectives from the different gentlemen and females who are in this particular field. So, it's interesting to know that the science is still out on many issues that we hear about in the press. Also, yesterday I attended the 20th anniversary of the Tropical Everglades Visitors Association, otherwise known as TIVA. They had a really nice showing there. Fruit and Spice Park was there, the county, Biscayne National Park. I saw Miss Knowles there as well. And it was a very nice event, and there were many visitors there as well. So it was a great event, as well as Second Saturday that Ms. Lobos mentioned, and what a treat that was. And we do have a lot of talent in the city of Homestead. Also, I wanted to make an announcement. A few weeks back, Councilman McCormick mentioned that the holiday home makeover, that we really need to get something done for this woman, Ms. Phillips, and get something done. So I know the manager's been working on it. I've been working on it. So I had a lunch meeting with Ms. Brostoff, who works for Mr. Latner, and I had a lunch meeting with her last week, a very long lunch meeting, and I really had a heart-to-heart and said, that this was the developer's idea, this was their idea, they need to step up and they need to finish this job. And so I said I would really heartily recommend it. It's not that much money, and so I got a phone call today that the developer is going to step up and finish paying for the job. So I called Mr. McCormick to give him a heads up and let him know that, because I thought maybe he would like to announce it, but he wanted me to. So, Mr. McCormick, we're going to get this job finished. But he did say that the balance that's left, I think, was $16,000 or $17,000, something. He said that's what he's going to pay, that amount, no more. So I said, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. Mr. McCormick?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you, Mayor Bill, for your support in this effort, and also City Manager Shahada. It's a real bad situation for the city to be in, to come in and try to correct what was already done. But the thing that I was looking at was the family. And it's difficult when you have people looking at you and they're looking at the situation and not really what happened. I know it's not intentional that the developers didn't finish the project, But I know as a city we had to step in and do something. So once again, I thank you for your support, and also City Manager Shahada for your support also. And any other councilors that have something to do with it, I appreciate your support also. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman McCormick, for that. It's just something that had to get taken care of. And sometimes things happen and we have no control over it, but we can, kind of tell the developer how we feel about it. So I want to thank them for stepping up to the plate on this and taking care of the situation. Also, I'm in the process working right now, and I'm going to ask the manager's office to work with me. I'd like to do we have a Northwest Town Hall meeting coming up, and I would encourage everybody to attend that. We can talk about the charter review issues, as Ms. Lobo stated, but also I'd like to plan a town hall meeting where we have our representative for the City of Homestead, who mostly represents the city, is Mr. Zapata, and then also on the state level, and then on the federal level, I'd like to have Congressman Marius Diaz-Balart, and then the city level, I'd like to have myself and council. So we have a town hall meeting that incorporates all of the needs. So maybe there might be a city issue that you have a question about, a state issue, or a federal issue. So that way we can have one town hall that would encompass all of the needs and the issues that people have. It might be, a federal issue dealing with some type of Medicaid, Medicare, whatever, and I'd like to do it right here in City Hall. So we'll be getting a date on that for everybody, but I'd like to work across the board. So I did have one question. What happened to that voters drive that was supposed to be at the Hope, the new academy? Because when we went there was nobody there, and then we were told it was at Warriors. What happened?
Yes, Mayor Bell, I don't know, Councilwoman Sierra, I drove over to the first location, the Hope Academy, called you and told you that it wasn't there, and then you referred me to River of Life Church. So I drove over there and it wasn't there, so that's the report I gave to the mayor.
I really would like an update on what happened with that voters drive, because we promoted it, there was a newspaper article about it, and I know dollars were given to that, so I want to make sure that we follow up on that. I want to know what happened. So, Ms. Sierra, would you follow up on that? Okay, thank you very much, and let us know what happened. Mr. Burgess, Vice Mayor.
Before you adjourned, while we were talking about things being done on the roads, Julio, I want to thank you. He's taking care of two things over at the intersection, or actually where you get on the turnpike to head north, where the striping has been a question of the line of trees. Julio informed me today that the county's been informed, and things are going to be taken care of there. The striping will be changed so that the trees won't block it. And also on Kingman Road, where there's been a bad flooding problem, Julio also told me today that there is work that it looks like the developer is going to take care of, where it's been impassable on most afternoons down by the new Publix. So just thank you to Julio for his work and taking care of the citizens over there.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I do have one other announcement. New Beginnings Christian Fellowship is having a concert this coming Sunday. Our flag was still there, and it's a musical of faith and freedom, Sunday, July 27th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then following that is going to be kind of a picnic on the grounds. And I'd like everybody that wants, I have information right here about it. It's at 15300 Southwest 288th Street, and it's a patriotic musical concert. In fact, New Beginnings, every single Sunday for the entire month of July, has had a patriotic theme for the entire month, so that it wasn't just the 4th of July. So every single Sunday is some type of a history lesson from the pastor, rather than the typical sermon on how the nation was founded, as well as some type of patriotic music, the pledge. We had the police explorers there, so it's been really very exciting. So I wanted to invite anybody that would like to come and hear our flag was still there. And one other thing, in combination with Mr. Nelson's Committee for Business Development, what we have decided to do is all the new businesses that come into town, and we have a sampling here, is we're sending a welcome letter from the mayor to welcome the new businesses into the community. So it's another way of being business friendly and invite businesses into the community as the businesses come online. We're sending a welcome letter, and it simply says, on behalf of the City of Homestead City Council, I welcome you to our wonderful community. As a new business in our area, Homestead stands ready and willing to help you feel right at home. And then I give my phone number. So I just want to let you know that we are working to encourage good businesses, and once we get them here, we're encouraging them to stay. So thank you very much, and with that said, and with no further ado, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.